Welcome. This is the Powell Bros movie Chronicles. Usually there are two of us. Today there is one of us. For now, I have a special guest coming on in just a second. But Tobiah is traveling right now and is not available to record. And so it's just going to be me kind of leading this episode. Just have a handful of things to talk about and nothing too crazy. There were a lot of, as you see in the title, subverted expectations from today and just this week. It's been a kind of a weird week in entertainment, and I'm here to talk about it. But first off, we got an unexpected trailer drop today. And to discuss this, I'm going to invite on the biggest fan of this project or this movie. I'm talking about Shrek 5. Shrek's biggest fan, everyone. My wife, Rebecca Powell. Would you come join me? Woo! Well, that happened.
My bad.
That's okay. Welcome, Rebecca.
Thank you.
Yeah, talking to the mic.
Thank you.
How are you doing today?
Doing good.
Yes, I'm glad. And so today we got an unexpected trailer drop first thing in the morning for your favorite film franchise. Maybe. Is it your favorite?
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, talk to the mic.
Yeah.
Awesome. Shrek. So, Rebecca, you are... I almost called you Tobiah. Might do that a few times. Rebecca,
okay.
You're a big fan of Shrek.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Shrek movies are fun. I think they're great. And so what's been your opinion of the fact that there's going to be a Shrek 5? You know, do we need a Shrek 5? And, you know, one thing Tobiah and I talk about a lot on the podcast is how they make way too many sequels, way too many reboots, and they can't make anything original. So what's your opinion of a Shrek 5?
Yeah, I think one of the reasons that I like Shrek to begin with is because they've done such a good job at making like the sequel, and then like they made the third one and the fourth one. So I think the fact that they've done so good with those, I think they could do well with another one. But when was the last one made? Do you know when the last one came out?
Oh, that was well over 10 years ago, probably. I don't even know.
So with wokeism being so like rampant in movies, that's the one thing I'm worried about, is that there will be a lot of woke garbage in it. And if that's the case, then we won't go to the theater and see it with our kids. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and I really don't think there will be. I think it'll be I think they're going to play it close to the chest and just do basic Shrek concept. It's going to be based off some kind of fairy tale, and Shrek's going to go on an adventure and so forth. But today we get a teaser trailer. I definitely was not expecting this. The movie doesn't come out until Christmas of 2026. Usually that's about how long it would take just to make a movie between now and Christmas 26. But now they're like, oh, here's a teaser. We already got animation. We got the actors in the sound booth, and we're gonna give you a little tease months and months before it comes out. So unexpected. And Rebecca, what was your initial thoughts?
I had quite a few thoughts. I'm gonna pull up my notes here. Hold on, that's not right. Okay, the fact that Cameron Diaz has come out of retirement for this is great. I'm so glad, because it could have gone a few different ways. She could have not, and they could have replaced her with someone else, or they could have just killed Fiona off. But I'm so happy she came back to do it. So, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on that?
No. Yeah, I thought, I didn't know she had retired, so that's pretty cool.
After she had children, she retired to be a mom.
Okay.
So that's pretty cool.
It's nice that she's coming back just for like a voice role and to play like, her iconic character. Mm-hmm. I think that's great.
Mm-hmm. My other things, did you notice the magic mirror is like TikTok? Did you notice that?
Oh, I didn't
So he
recognize like TikTok,
swiped,
but okay.
and then the side has like, like and share and stuff on the side, like TikTok.
Oh,
You know what I'm talking about?
yeah, yeah. Well, like I recognize they're obviously playing off those Shrek memes, pretty much, and I thought that was fun. So when I first, here, just full disclosure, when I first saw the teaser this morning, I had no idea what this was. I thought it was some kind of fake spoof, something fun they're doing. I don't know. It was like International Shrek Day or something. I have no idea. It was literally the Shrek Twitter X account that posted it. And so I was like, I had no idea what this is. And so I'm watching it, and then they bring in the daughter, and they have Donkey, and then Pinocchio, and then boom, Shrek 5. I was like, oh, okay. a little early for this, but yeah, interesting. Okay.
I at first thought it was pretty inappropriate. Like, I kind of shielded it from the boys at first, and then I realized most of Shrek is inappropriate. And so if you look back to like when it first came out, there was a lot of
Talking about the Shrek, the Shrek TikToks.
no, just Shrek in general.
Why was
Like
it
they're always
inappropriate?
burping and farting.
Oh, okay.
And, like crude jokes.
I see.
So I guess it's right on course for like Shrek.
Well, yeah.
So it's just like in this day and age, whereas like I feel like if you look back at movies that were made a long time ago, you don't really know like what was going on in the world, and so it's not as relevant. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Interesting. But on the topic of the mirror on the wall, I thought it was hilarious that they went with that route and used the mirror for the teaser, because there's a certain Disney movie coming out in a few weeks, Snow White. And so I think this was like DreamWorks. I honestly think this was probably part of their marketing plan, to release this before Snow White came out, to say like, hey, like, we're a better Snow White than you guys.
Honestly. Yeah.
Or, better movie, obviously, and better. Yeah. They're just like saying, hey, this is, it's just kind of like an ode to Disney.
Yeah. Yeah. The animation.
Yeah. What'd you think of the animation? Didn't like it?
No, it was so bad. I don't know. Okay, so here's the thing. If you watch Puss in Boots, what is it, The Last Wish? Is that what it's called?
Incredible movie.
At the end, you see him in the boat going to far, far away. And in that movie, it does show Shrek for like a split second when he has like the flashback.
Right.
Or like his life flashes before his eyes. And so like I feel like it's all in the same universe. They don't need to change the animation, because even in Puss in Boots, the animation's not that different. So I'm not sure if they're actually going to stick with this, or if it's like a Sonic the Hedgehog, we're going to release bad animation so that we'll get a lot of attention and then change it.
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously very early on, and so I'm sure they're going to rework it a little bit and probably test the waters with the reaction, because the reaction is mostly negative. It's definitely mixed. Honestly, it's better than I expected. I expected it to be worse, because it's modern day animation. Animation has changed so much since Shrek. I thought it's gonna be more I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it. It's just a little bit too like refined and like too realistic, I guess. I think like Puss in Boots. Like the Puss in Boots animation I love it. But they did a redesign for Puss in Boots, specifically. Like his character, his animation is different.
Are you talking about in The Last Wish?
Yeah, in The Last Wish. It's different from like Shrek 2, 3, and 4. And so I expected there to be a big change for Shrek, and it wasn't as much of a change as I was expecting. Also, I think one thing that people aren't putting into aren't factoring in to this is the fact that he is older. He's playing an old Shrek who's a father to almost adult.
If anything, he looked younger.
I don't know. I thought he looked older, like a little bit more like rugged. So then again, I don't know. There are a couple like screenshots from the teaser, like one or two shots that like you're right. He does look kind of younger, but I think if you watch the animation, him interacting, which a lot of people aren't doing, he seems older. But it's a lot. I don't know. Like they mess with like the cheekbones to even like he just looks even like a little bit less intimidating, less ogre-y.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's my problem.
Yeah.
And And then I don't know what they're doing with Fiona. She looks completely different. Same, like she's older. She's become she's been a mom for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of get it. I just don't know why they changed her as much as they did. And then Donkey, they changed a lot, though we don't get to see much of Donkey. So I don't. This is one thing I say to Spy a lot. This is the thing we talk about. You can't prejudge these things. They release these trailers to create conversations.
Mm-hmm.
They release these teasers. Same thing with like Superman. All the stuff surrounding that. Like they release it to create conversation. You don't know how it's going to be until the movie comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Though the animation is a big deal because like you want to like the animated character and you want it to feel like the old while being in the new. It is a new animation style. Animation has progressed a lot since then, and so it's going to be different. But we want to believe this is the character that we fell in love with before. This is the character that we loved to watch before, and it's hard to do that if they look different.
I feel like with Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, they did a really good job at doing all that. So I'm really, really hopefully optimistic that they will not mess up Shrek too much.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I think Last Wish was just such a great movie, and so I hope they kind of continue that. Good storytelling. I think good animation. Like I love the animation in Puss in Boots, so I would hope that they continue that, but we shall see. And then lastly, what do you think about the daughter, the casting for her?
Well, first I was going to say, where are the other children?
Yes, where are the other children? Once again, early. It's way too early. Like, I'm sure they're going to be there.
Like you said, wanted to get it out quick before Snow White. Yeah. And Zendaya's probably the bigger name out of the three.
Right, yeah, because there's going to be other actors playing the kids. Assuming that there's other kids. Well, there's 3, right?
Yeah, there was 3. And from what it seemed, they were all the same age. So maybe they're planning to do like some had already moved out kind of a thing, but they're all the same age. They were triplets. So yeah. I don't know. So
I don't know either. We shall find out about that.
But yeah, Zendaya.
Had to be Zendaya.
You called it. You called it last week.
Did I really?
Yes.
What did I say?
We were at the dinner table and you said, "I wonder who's going to be in it. Probably Zendaya."
I don't even remember that.
You don't.
I was literally watching the trailer. I didn't even I obviously heard the voice, but before they announced the name, I was like, "Oh, it's gonna be a Zendaya." But without really even paying attention to the voice, I knew like it's gonna be a Zendaya. And then they do the whole Zendaya, what? And it's really annoying. I wanted to throw my phone. Like I'm tired of seeing her and everything. And she's become like a meme at this point, and. Nothing against her as an actor. I mean, she's a fine actor, but I just don't like Hollywood goes through these phases where they have to cast the same person in every project, and it gets kind of annoying.
Yeah.
It's not original. It's not unique. Like, pick other actors. Pick less known actors. Mm-hmm. I get why they don't do that. It's just because they want people to go see their movie. But anyways, It's frustrating.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. And the daughter, I mean, the animation's fine, I guess. I don't think much issue with that. Pinocchio, typical Pinocchio. There wasn't Puss in Boots there.
Well, no, because I think he'll join the story because of The Last Wish.
Right.
We'll see how that plays out.
Yep.
But now, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't they say quite a while ago that they were going to make a 5th Shrek movie, but it was going to be a prequel to like Shrek's backstory? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I kind of feel like there was something about that. I don't know if, I mean, that was probably just a rumor. I don't think that's, I mean, maybe his past will be involved. Like my guess is, if I'm thinking about the story, it's going to be about fatherhood, which I love. It's going to be about him dealing with, how is he going to be a father to kids that probably want to live up to him or want to be ogres or don't want to be ogres, and what does that look like? And then I would assume his dad, his parents are going to be involved in the story, so it's probably going to be a father-son thing, and then a son-daughter or a father-daughter relationship. hierarchy structure in the story, and I would, so that's probably the direction I would assume that they're gonna go, and that's just, I said it here, so.
I guess what I hope does not happen is very much like the Indiana Jones, what number? 5? 5, passing the torch on, which would be fine, but it always has to be like the old male passing it on to a young woman, and it never works out. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the only, like, I thought the exact same thing, but I don't really think, it's not like there's something to pass down unless it's the swamp. I don't think that's gonna. I don't think we have to worry about that necessarily, because it's not like he's like a hero, and he's retiring and passing on the torch. He's also not that, like, he does look older, but he's not like washed up old man Shrek. I don't think they're necessarily going that route, but they could. Who knows? Long way to go. I mean, we're talking almost 2 years until this movie comes out. So I don't think we've ever gotten a teaser for a movie this early. I could be wrong, but like a full on like character like present in this, like in the trailer, interacting, talking. So I don't know. They just wanted to get it out there, create conversation for a while, and I'm sure we'll get more things in the coming future.
Yeah, I would like to see a good father story. I feel like we've been seeing that a lot more recently, like with the wild robot. Well, that's not father.
Like parenting.
Yeah.
Father and a mother story.
Yeah. I think that could be really successful, and I hope that's the direction they'll go with it. But I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, and like, one part of me is like, I do not want them to just have a whole bunch of reference to like Gen Z things.
Yeah, that too.
but it will be, because it's coming out for this generation.
Well,
it's
just
this
even
generation
the whole
starts.
TikTok on the mirror.
Yeah. So it's going to have a lot of modern day references that Gen Zers are gonna relate to, which makes sense. It's a new generation. They want to make it for them, and I don't necessarily blame them for doing that. I just would prefer not to do that.
Well, but if you think about it, like what I was saying earlier, like movies that we'll watch that were made, like early 2000s, late, 1995 on, probably had a lot of cultural stuff in them, and we just didn't realize because we weren't like old enough to realize that was like relevant stuff. But now we watch stuff that comes out now, and we're kind of like cringe at it, even though it probably was still like that back in the day. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. It's hard to capture that generational how to relate, how to create something that generation can relate to, and then that can be related to in future generations,
but still not be cringy.
Yeah. It's hard to do that as time goes on. So yeah. Well, thank you, my Shrek expert.
You're welcome.
Do you have any other thoughts?
I don't think so.
Do you think this movie's gonna be successful in 2 years?
I think what we'll see is kind of like with the newer Despicable Me movies, or like any, like the Toy Story movies, stuff like that. Kids that went and saw the originals, like 1, 2, 3, 4, when they were young, I think there's going to be a lot of adults going to see it. So I do think that it will get a lot of like attention at first, but I guess it depends on if it's actually going to be a good movie or not. Like, they could make it really good and it could be really successful, or they could make it very woke and dumb, and in that case, like, it'll not be good.
Yeah.
So
we'll both be in our 30s when this comes out. So that's weird.
Wild.
Yep.
That is wild.
Man, we didn't have very many Shrek references or puns. You got anything to close us out?
No. I was just thinking, I remember seeing Shrek 3 in theaters. And now,
so do I.
Hopefully, if it's not woke, our kids will get to go and see Shrek in theaters. 5. That's crazy to think about.
Pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't have anything clever to say.
That's okay.
Thank you.
You got the ears.
Yeah.
So, there you go. Well, thank you, my lovely wife.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Come again sometime, another time, Well, hello. We're continuing. Yep, Shrek 5. It'll be interesting to see how this unfolds, and I think the internet mostly is hating on this, and so will they listen to the fans, or will they just tell us to shut up and move on? I don't know. I'd be curious to know like what Gen Zers think of it, because I don't know. But it's mostly Shrek fans, or not fans, but those that grew up with Shrek. They're really talking about it. So, but anyways, moving on to other franchises. It was reported this past Tuesday by the Hollywood Reporter, and among other very esteemed, trusted sources. It was reported that Kathleen Kennedy was in the process of retiring by the end of 2025. And everyone ran with it. Everyone pretty much believed it. There was obviously some, hesitancy because this has been reported in the past, just not as seriously as it was this time. But people often, or it was reported, I don't know what it was, maybe 2 years ago. I feel like every year there's like a new rumor that Kathleen Kennedy's stepping down. This is her final year. Then there was a whole like she's waiting for one more win in order to retire with Star Wars. So we thought, okay, this must be it. And I was going to come on tonight and literally discuss this and say, hey, Kathleen Kennedy is quitting and moving on, and here's my thoughts about it, which I'll just, I guess, say I don't think it matters. I honestly don't. With Kathleen Kennedy, whoever replaces her is going to be just as bad, if not worse, than she is at handling Star Wars. Though she handled it pretty poorly. Most likely her successor is going to be someone that she's training up, that she's preparing for this role. Probably another woman, probably another person that doesn't actually understand Star Wars, or that doesn't, or that hates George Lucas's Star Wars and doesn't respect the brand, and is going to continue to drive it into the ground if it can go any farther in the ground. Or it's going to be Dave Filoni, and he's going to make it just as gay as it was before, or more gay, if that's even possible. For those of you who do not know, I do not like Dave Filoni. I used to be a fan of him. I used to think that he was the answer to Star Wars, but no, I don't. He is, after Ahsoka, after Mandalorian Season 3, after Book of Boba Fett, after The Acolyte, all these things, I'm just, dude, please stay away from Star Wars. Everyone that's involved with Star Wars right now just needs to quit, stop, take a 10-year break, and then give us something in the future by someone who actually cares about the brand and that loves Star Wars. That's all I ask. But anyways, it was reported that she was quitting. I didn't think it really mattered. Though I think she should step down, yes, because she has ruined this brand that I love and that I've grown up loving, and a brand that I'm in the process of showing my kids and getting my kids excited about. But not the new stuff. I will not let them actually watch the new movies until they're older. But anyways, it was reported literally like an hour ago. Kathleen Kennedy sat down and did an interview. I don't know who it was with or what it was for. Because like one thing that was kind of adding to the fact that, or one thing that was really supporting this rumor was the fact that that Disney hadn't said anything, that Kathleen Kennedy hasn't said anything, and it's been since Tuesday. So you would think that she or someone would jump on and say, no, I'm not retiring. She's not retiring. She's sticking around. Like, this isn't real. So I feel like they would have shot down the rumor within at least a couple days. But now it's Thursday, and they hadn't shut it down, but she did an interview. And in that interview, she makes it very clear multiple times that she is actually not retiring. She's decided that she is not retiring. That rumor was not true. She's going to continue in doing Star Wars. She's going to, and she does say she has a retirement plan that she's working on, which makes sense. She's old. It makes sense that someone her age, like, who should just, retire, be a grandma. I don't know if she has grandchildren. I'm assuming she does. I don't know. Just be a normal retired woman and leave Star Wars alone. But no, she said she's going to make Star Wars. No, she's going to make movies, not specifically Star Wars movies. She wants to make movies until she's dead. She doesn't want to retire. She doesn't want to. So the whole rumor about her retiring from Star Wars and stepping down from Lucasfilm is not true. But it's also not true that she's ever retiring, or that she's going to retire. She's never retiring. So So there's that. She said she's devoted to, training up the next successor to her. She's devoted to pumping out the next few Star Wars movies with the Rey movie and Mandalorian Grogu, one of the most, one of the best titles movies ever had. Not really. And she's just decided that she's going to keep going, keep pushing forward, keep ruining Star Wars, keep on beating that dead horse, which has been dead for a while, but they keep beating that poor little horse. So there's that. Subverted expectations. We're expecting her to retire and be done, and nope, she's not. She's continuing. She wants to keep on moving forward and keep making the dumbest decisions that a studio head can make for a franchise. I just the budget decisions. I don't know who's signing off on these, but she's the president of Lucasfilm. I'm sure she's involved in signing off on these budgets. Let's give, I don't know, $180 million, reportedly, it was likely more, it sounds like, to The Acolyte, a High Republic show, a show based off of the High Republic novels that are the lowest selling books in Star Wars, and some of the lowest selling books, period, in just modern day novels and writing. Let's take a series from those books, and let's take a concept from those books, and let's make our own TV show. Oh yeah, and let's make it lame and gay. Let's put a lesbian front and center. Let's make up our whole concept of the Force. Let's have lesbian space witches. Let's have them sing this ritual song that everyone's gonna love. Let's have I don't even want to think about that show anymore. Like I'm trying to like bring up all the ridiculousness of that show. I don't care. It was the worst thing I've ever seen. So whatever. The Acolyte was dumb. Let's put all that money in that. Oh right, it was one of the lowest rated shows that Disney Plus has ever had. It was disliked by the majority of people. It did nothing for them but showed just how little they care about Star Wars and care about the brand. Let's put Yoda in the end, who now finds out about this Sith Lord who's been lurking in the shadows and may or may not be dead, and let's not tell anyone about it. And there's that. Leslie Headland. Oh yeah, let's hire Harvey Weinstein's former personal assistant, Leslie Headland, to run this show, and then let her put her nepo wife into the show as well, so that she can be a Jedi who saves the day and makes everything right in the end. Yay! Let's give that show almost $200 million. But Obi-Wan Kenobi, man, I don't know. Do we really want to? Is it that important? No, we got the volume, we'll have Ewan and Hayden back, but other than that, like, let's throw, about $80 million at it. I don't even remember what the budget was. Let's throw less than $100 million at that and just do 8 episodes. Was it 8 episodes? I don't know. Whatever. 8 episodes, and let's instead of making it about Obi-Wan and Anakin or Darth Vader and their conflict, let's add another character to the story and make it all about her. Let's make it the Reva show, which they did, and it was all about her and focused around her and her conflict and her struggle and her pull to the dark, or her struggle with the dark side, and then eventually pulled to the light side, and her repentance, and then her and the fate of the entire galaxy being put in her hands. She's given the choice to whether or not to kill Luke Skywalker, but she chooses not to because of the goodness of her heart, and then she goes off into the sunset in the end. Let's make that show. And let's give it like $80 million and film it in the volume, make it look like crap, and have Darth Vader and Obi-Wan face off again, even though they're not supposed to be meeting at all during this time period. But that's what people want, right? Let's do it. And so, yeah. Let's cut Vader's mask for the 100th time. I'm so over that. Okay. Book of Boba Fett, another show. We got Boba Fett. Everyone's been wanting this for who knows how long. Let's throw a few dollars at that one as well and make it the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Have Boba Fett be completely ruined as a character, completely emasculated over and over again. Let's see him be showed up by everyone else around him, and then discuss how to rule Mos Eisley or wherever he was on Tatooine. Yeah, dude, I'm thinking about all these shows, and I'm just like, why? What? They're worse than I even remember. I cannot fathom why they made the decisions that they made and what the direction they did with these shows. Ahsoka's another one. Ahsoka's terrible. The worst thing about that show was Thrawn. I love Thrawn. Thrawn's one of my favorite villains from the EU, and they've completely ruined him. I don't know why. Like it's right there. You have the source material. You have the character. He's already developed. He's already written. Just take that, copy paste into this new Disney-fied Star Wars. No, they can't even do that. So they make him a chubby, fat, brainless idiot who lives on a planet by himself and knows there's a Jedi living just a few miles from him, but he doesn't deal with him or doesn't care. So yeah, sure, whatever. Anyways, and as we've said in this show on this podcast, and I'll continue to talk about, they've ruined all the men. I didn't even talk about the sequel movies. I just was talking about the TV shows. Now I think about it, I didn't even talk about the movies. I don't even want to bring up the Rise of Skywalker or the Last Jedi. Last Jedi is where it began. Like there was people had hope after Force Awakens. Okay, maybe this could go somewhere. Maybe this could be something good. But it was a false hope that fell short very quickly once the Last Jedi came out, and we realized, oh wow. First off, talk about subverted expectations. Here's this movie that is literally all about subverted expectations. And you like Luke Skywalker? Too bad. Oh, you like Snoke? Too bad. Your Snoke theories suck. As someone once said. I'm just they hate. Kathleen Kennedy hates men. She's probably been around a lot of terrible men. I will say that. I'm sure she's got a lot of dirt on a lot of men in Hollywood back in the 70s and 80s. During I will say she did produce some of the best movies ever made. She produced Indiana Jones. She did a lot of stuff with Spielberg. She's done a lot. A lot of our favorite films. I think Jurassic Park she was involved in, probably, maybe. A lot of her favorite films, her name's connected to it, but as a producer, not as a writer or director, just as usually just a producer. So there, do with that what you will. She probably has a lot of dirt on a lot of men in Hollywood, and a lot of things that have been said and done in the past that she's blackmailing them about. I don't know for sure if that's true, but it probably is true. And that's why she's able to stay in power. That's why she's not been fired after completely running one of the greatest IPs, greatest franchises of all time into the ground. They release TV shows and they do nothing. They get no views. No one cares about it. People hate on it over and over again. Their toy sales have plummeted. Like Star Wars toys used to be the biggest thing in merchandising, in the merchandising business. Like Star Wars toys sold so much and made so much for George Lucas, and that's been thrown. That no one cares. Like all their toys go to the discount rack now. Their toy sales, their TV shows, their movies, though were successful at first, The Rise of Skywalker went down. It kept going down. It wasn't going up. Force Awakens made $2 billion. Last Jedi $1.5 billion or something. And then I can't remember. Did The Rise of Skywalker make $1 billion? Maybe. But if it did, it was still a lot less than The Last Jedi. It was their return on investment was dwindling and going downward, wrong direction. And then they, of course, stopped making Star Wars movies. They haven't made Star Wars movies since 2019. We're in 2025. That's 6 years of no Star Wars films, and we're not getting another Star Wars film until next year. So that's going to be, 7 years? TV shows, the theme parks, Galaxy's Edge, one of the worst decisions I think I've I've ever seen a company make. Let's take a let's take a time period of one of our let's take the time period of one of our movies that was one of the most hated movies of all time, The Last Jedi, and let's make an entire theme park focused around that timeline. Though they've never done that with any other project, any other franchise in their theme parks, but we're gonna do it for Star Wars, and we're gonna have Rey, we're gonna have Kylo, we're gonna have we'll have Chewbacca, we'll have R2D2 and C-3PO, but we'll have the First Order troopers. You're not even gonna see stormtroopers. You're gonna see First Order stormtroopers, and the rebels, and all these things that remind you of the Last Jedi. And then a few things here and there, like the Millennium Falcon, that people will love and hold on to. That's what we got. Very obviously very disappointing, and really honestly just frustrating. That's the direction they went with the theme parks. But it's all Kathleen Kennedy. This is all her. This is decisions that she made, and somehow, though the Star Wars brand is so diminished and ruined, but somehow she's still in power. Somehow she's continuing in this path, and she's gonna ride off in the sunset. Like, another thing I said, like, if she's not retiring, she's gonna continue off in the sunset. Like, or she's gonna ride off in the sunset. She's not gonna have a shameful end to her career. No, she's gonna be praised. She's gonna go out with thunder's applause. And that's going to be her legacy, and they're going to spin it in every way they can to make it seem like she is the greatest thing Hollywood's ever seen, and that's that. And then her successor will continue what she's began, and continue in the direction that she took the Star Wars, and and we're going to continue to see it die more and more until it's nothing, which is pretty much is now. Like, no one cares about Star Wars. Kids, like, they made Skeleton Crew, and it didn't even hit trending shows. Like, no one watched it, no one cared. It was made for kids, and what I heard, it wasn't that bad. It was actually pretty decent. I didn't watch it because I don't care. But hey, let's put this show out and see if we can get people to come see it and tune in, and they didn't. And I'm not surprised, sadly, but that's what we have. And so, oh man, and then on top of that, they have Andor. Andor is, once again, it had very low viewership. It was made by someone who doesn't like Star Wars. What? I'm trying to remember. What's his name? Edwards, maybe. Garth. Blah. I don't know. I can't remember his name, but the dude that made Andor, he has come out and said, I don't like Star Wars. When he was making the first season, he had said there were times where he forgot he was making a Star Wars show. All the Star Wars references are just executives and the studio putting that stuff in there to make it seem like a Star Wars show, but it's literally when you watch it, in my opinion, it doesn't feel like Star Wars. It's just political discussions, people talking. You're watching a guy eat cereal and have a conversation with his mom, because that's what we want. You have things in the show that feel real, that feel like it's in our world, when that's not what Star Wars is. Star Wars is another world. It's in another galaxy far, far away. You're not like George Lucas is literally his purpose and his desire in making Star Wars was to create a world that was unlike ours. So whenever you watch the original Star Wars movies, none of the things from the tools, from the weapons, they're not things that you recognize in your daily life. Even down to screws, like he didn't want Phillip head screws to be throughout the ships and stuff. No, it was just unique to the galaxy, in a galaxy far, far away. So because it's this form of escapism into another world. Andor decided to go in a completely different direction and just make it feel grounded and more real. It's Star Wars for adults, and I hated it. And now I got season 2, and then they released this trailer, and I don't know if you guys have listened to the trailer or watched the trailer. I say listen because they put this like I don't know, 80s. No, it's like it's like a modern day rock song, pop song. I don't even know. I listened to it once. I was, what in the world is this? The tone that they're setting is so weird. Like, it doesn't match the tone of the first show, but it also doesn't match the tone of Star Wars. Star Wars music is unique, and when you put other music in a Star Wars project, even if it's just a trailer, that's not like, doesn't have to be dun 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 dun. It doesn't have to be the Imperial March. It doesn't have to be the opening crawl to the Star Wars. It doesn't have to be an actual like Star Wars song, but it has to be a song that feels like it's from Star Wars. Yes, it sounds like John Williams, but no, they had this modern rock song in the trailer. It was so stupid. I just don't, and maybe that's going back to the Shrek thing. Like, they just want to create a conversation. They want people to talk about it, and they don't care that people are hating on it. But whatever. I could talk about Star Wars all night long. It's dead, sad. I'm not excited. I have no desire for anything that they're doing. There are some ideas that they could, directions they could go, or that they've teased going, that maybe are interesting, but for the most part, I don't care. Like, I've enjoyed going back and just reading the EU books. I've enjoyed playing a lot of the old video games that, on the 64 and the GameCube. I have a lot of all the Star Wars games, just good fun times to go back, good nostalgia trip. And then I love watching the original movies. Prequels have their problems, but they're part of my childhood, and I love going back to them, and now I'm showing them to my kids. Like, what a great, awesome experience that I have to do that. And also, speaking of Star Wars prequels, other news, on April 25th, for one whole week, they're going to be releasing the Revenge of the Sith, Episode 3, Star Wars, in theaters for about a week. And man, I'm pretty excited about that. I know they did the Phantom Menace, I guess was it the 20th anniversary Phantom Menace, like a few years ago, and now this is the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith. Wait, no, Phantom Menace wouldn't have been 20 years, must have been 25 years. Yeah. It was last year. This year's been crazy for me. Last year they did the 25th anniversary of Phantom Menace, and they haven't done anything for Attack of the Clones. I guess I understand why. But Revenge of the Sith 20th anniversary, it's incredible. Like, I remember, like, that one of the greatest theater experiences of my life was going to see Revenge of the Sith. I remember the trailer. Speaking of trailers, I remember the trailer just like so captivating and so just exciting and like, emotional and intense. Like, we're watching Anakin as he turns to the dark side and becomes Darth Vader. You have Palpatine, who's you have the part of the trailer where Mace Windu comes in with other Jedi and they ignite the lightsabers and says, "You're under arrest, Chancellor." It's like, oh man, like, it's crazy, and it gets you so excited for the movie. And then the movie comes out and you see it and just watch the story unfold, and the visuals, the space battles, the lightsaber fights, just as a kid, it was just the craziest thing ever. And then just the story and the conclusion of Anakin, a young Anakin's story, and as he becomes Darth Vader, and you have Obi-Wan's story in that, and everything, and Padme's tragedy, and it's just incredible. I love that movie a lot, and obviously, and I'm excited to see it in theaters. I get to see it probably for my birthday, actually. It comes out a day before my birthday, so looking forward to that. Revenge of the Sith, 20 years. I remember seeing it in theaters 20 years ago, 2005. Wow, what a time. So we're getting to do that again, so exciting. And yeah, kind of move on from Star Wars. I was hoping I could segue a little bit from Kathleen Kennedy and her blackmail and her dirt on a lot of Hollywood executives, by saying that the Epstein files were supposed to be released today. And I'm sure some of those people are on those list, that Kathleen Kennedy has some dirt on. Maybe, who knows? I don't. We don't know. So the new Attorney General Pam, I can't remember her last name. She said earlier this last week that she was I think a week ago, that the Epstein files that she asked the FBI to give to her were on her desk. So names and receipts, all that was on her desk, and she, it seemed to be hyped up, as in like, we're actually going to get some answers. We're going to find out who was visiting his island, who was on those planes, who was part of these rings of these groups, part of the things that were. Turns out that was not what we got. They decided to. I'm not gonna. I bring this up because of my whole concept of subverted expectations. Like, I expected to come on tonight and be able to say, "Oh, look at all these people that are going to be celebrating their movies at the Oscars. Oh, it looks like they were pathetic human beings, and who are going to get exposed and arrested and serve their time." But not yet. Because whatever we got was not what that pretty much. It sounds like most of the information that we got from the released files was just stuff that we already knew. A lot of it was the victim. Like, Pam received all the, like, pretty much information of all the victims, as well as, I guess, Epstein's phone book or something. All the people that he knew and interacted with, but which doesn't really do anything. It doesn't give us any evidence or whatever. So we don't have much to report on that, except for they had all these the conservative influencers go to the White House and stand outside the West Wing holding up their binders. It says Epstein file declassification or whatever, phase 1. And they posted on the internet, like, showing everyone how they got the file, they got the phase 1 file, the binder. We got some answers here, and then they spend the whole day not saying a single word about it. They just keep posting the front of their binder, and finally, it looks like people are opening them up and showing us. But it's just it was really weird. It was really kind of odd because, like, these are just thinking about all the victims, these people are celebrating and, like, laughing and doing a photo op in front of the White House, smiling because they got the binder, with all this terrible information about the horrific things that were done to these people by this horrible man. And so it's just this vile man. I just, whatever. It was kind of sickening and really annoying, and really frustrating. So, Lord willing, we will get some answers. We pray that the Lord will do right. The God of all of the universe will do right. We know He will, and whether the people that are guilty, whether they suffer in this life or the next in judgment, or both, the Lord will do right, either now or in eternity. So we are patiently wait and trust Him, and pray that He will expose the wickedness that is here on earth, of those that are here on earth today, and that they will either be drawn to repentance or brought to justice, and serve and receive the just punishment for their crimes. So we wait for that, and yeah, Hollywood's filled with a lot of pathetic, sick people, and one of our hopes in this podcast is that we will kind of expose that and talk about that and not be afraid to say the hard things. It's like these, it's hard to separate, and it's hard to separate movies, actors from the movies or from the characters they play. But sometimes you have to, because they are just characters. These are adult pretenders. These actors, like, they pretending to be adults. They're pretending to be people in movies and TV shows, and a lot of these people are pretty wicked and pretty evil and vile,